Hey, how's it going, everybody? Mike Weber here, your Los Angeles real estate broker, here with your real estate market update for the beginning of January 2021. First off, I just want to say that I hope you all had a nice and safe holiday season. A lot of people are happy to be done with 2020, myself included in a lot of ways. There was a lot of challenges, a lot of difficulties, a lot of trouble that people faced in the year of 2020. And I think we all hope that 2021 is going to be a much better year across the board. That being said, it was an incredible year in the real estate industry. We saw massive price growth in the year of 2020. And really, we're just seeing kind of a bubbly economy, if you will. We have Bitcoin accelerating, taking out new highs recently, above 30,000 currently. We had a huge year for the stock market in the face of economic turmoil for the country, but the stock market did incredible. We have Tesla, now a $700 billion company, taking out the market cap of companies that actually have a lot of earnings. Tesla currently trading above 1,400 times earnings. So just some incredible stuff happening in the world right now, probably as a result of massive money printing by the Federal Reserve. And of course, we saw similar glimpses of what that could look like in a highly inflationary environment when it comes to real estate prices, with real estate prices spiking last year for most of the end of the year, the last several months of the year at least. And certainly no signs of that letting up anytime here in the near future, with interest rates being so low and other ways the government is stimulating the market. In fact, the most recent bill that was just passed that included stimulus also included provisions to help renters with some sort of rent assistance, and who knows what other kinds of stuff will happen as a result of that bill and new bills that are going to be passed here in the very near future. Who knows how the government will continue to stimulate the real estate market, restrict supply from coming on the market, and further increase demand or push demand forward by continuing to provide these low interest rates, all kinds of new assistance programs, down payment assistance, so on and so forth. I still have a lot of people that seem to think that this year we're going to see a correction in real estate. But so far, of course, we're not seeing any data that would indicate that's happening so far. So let's go ahead and get started. We'll look at what's happening at Los Angeles County as a whole, and then drive down a little bit deeper into the South Bay beach cities and see what's happening there. All right. So starting out here in Los Angeles County as a whole, we see a dramatic spike up in real estate prices, kind of right after the lockdown ended in Los Angeles County. We ended the year up 12.3% year over year. And again, as you can see here, I mean, really there's no comparison in terms of how big this spike was at any of the previous 5 years, as you can see here on the chart. Definitely it was a highly competitive environment. Very difficult to get an offer accepted. It wasn't uncommon for, $400,000, $500,000, $600,000, $700,000 homes to go for $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 over asking all the time. So it was a crazy year. The last couple of months did kind of slow down. It kind of tapered off. But that is pretty typical during the holiday season. So we'll have to see what happens, going into these first couple months of the new year. Now, if we take a look at the supply of inventory in Los Angeles County, what we see here is that, as we would expect for this time of year, there shouldn't be very much inventory. In fact, we are lower here now this year than at any point in the last 5 years by just a little bit for the time of year. And we are down 8.3% compared to where we were a year ago. And this is pretty much to be expected. But what is interesting is if we look at closed sales for Los Angeles County, what we see is a totally atypical pattern here. For the month end of December, we were up 22% compared to the year prior. So typically, we kind of get into the middle of the year here and then gradually start tapering down through the end of the year and end up with, a much lower closed sales amount than we have during kind of peak selling season at the middle of the year. We did not see that at all this last year because of what happened as a result of COVID. So really kind of closed sales just stayed solid all the way through until the very end of the year. So what this means is that there's really not much more inventory that's been on the market. What it means is that everything that's on the market is just getting bought relatively quickly by people that are out there buying homes. So again, 22% higher than we were last December year over year in terms of the number of closed sales happening in December. And if you see here, this is really above any prior point all of last year, even during peak selling season, for the number of closed sales taking place throughout the year. Now, if we look at the South Bay beach cities, we see that we were up substantially more. We ended up ending the year just up 3.6%. When you look at the South Bay beach cities as a whole. Now, clearly there was a dramatic spike up from the lows from last year, so still pretty dramatic, but then we ended up tapering off a little bit, and we also had a fairly high peak back in December of 2019. So peak to peak year over year, it's only 3.6%, but overall, the average level of prices were much higher last year compared to the year before 2019. Now, if we look at the supply of inventory, we see the same trend as we see in Los Angeles. We are down 5.9% compared to the year prior. And as we see here, we're down to 1.6 months supply, which is an incredibly low amount of supply of inventory for any market. Balance might be, 4, 5, 6 months supply. We usually never get above, 3 months supply, even during the peak selling season. So down here at 1.6, essentially there's no inventory on the market to buy. It's a very competitive. People buy anything that hits the market quickly if it's priced correctly and so on. Finally, if we look at closed sales ending in December, again, just like Los Angeles, we're up 20.7% year over year. Again, we saw no drop off towards the end of the year, the holidays. Closed sales stayed super strong throughout the end of the year. So really a lot of euphoria in the real estate market, bubblicious sort of environment. Prices are going up. There's nothing out there, multiple offers. Highly competitive. So if you're a buyer, you got to have your ducks in a row. You need a stellar agent that knows what they're doing, that can convince the other side that you're going to get the job done, that you know what you're doing, that you're going to be efficient, quick, and responsive through the transaction, and so on. And if you're a seller, you just need to price right, obviously have a nice property in decent condition, allow access to the property, have a decent agent that knows how to communicate and negotiate on your behalf. All right, guys. Well, I hope this information was useful. If you haven't already, click the subscribe button. Let me know what you guys think is going to happen this year. Do you think we're going to see a downturn? Do you think prices are going to continue rising? What's happening in your local area? Appreciate you guys watching. I will see you next month for the next market update. Thanks so much and take care.